Hello, my third recording of the day. Or, well, it's 1 a.m., so it's a new day. Anyway, I'll be reading a different kind of story. I'll be reading a self-insertion human thingy. It's not human ponies, but you're a human and you're in Equestria. I'm not sure. Something about you and Lyra. I'm not sure if it's a plot fic. I think it's more of a light shipping. It's called Tugging on Her Heartstrings. Alright, Chapter 1. Here we go. And there she was, the most beautiful mare you've ever seen, right before you. Her eyes met yours, and she smiles widely. Her pastel coat is shimmering in the sunlight as she slowly trots closer to you, her eyes fixated on your own. You can see that she is deliberately swinging her flank with each step. She stops and quickly brushes her mane out of her beautiful golden eyes. Your heart begins to race. "Hey," she says, her voice sultry, and her eyes keeping in touch with your own. You want to reply, but instead you find your words stuck in your throat. Suddenly, the TV turns on. "What?" you cry at the blank set. You swing your head to find Lyra Heartstrings, your caretaker and friend, leaning against the back of the couch, a remote control hanging before her in a soft golden aurora. She gives you a disapproving glance. "So even humans like Marilyn Manson, huh?" No, I was watching it for the plot," you responded quickly. "Yeah, sure, maybe her plot." Lyra lets out a small laugh and hops over the back of the couch, landing on the cushion next to yours. "Oh, ha ha, very funny." You can feel your cheeks redden as you swat at the air for the remote control. She swings it away from your hands and expertly sticks her tongue out at you. "If that's how it's gonna be. I'm a human, stuck alone in magic ponyland, and you won't even let me watch a television show? You should be ashamed." You mock, sulk, and cross your arms, fighting back a smile. Lyra laughs. "First off, it's Equestria. Get it straight." She playfully punches your arm with a hoof and readjusts herself, mimicking your style of sitting. "Damn, how do you humans find this comfortable?" she mutters to herself, losing her train of thought. "Well, maybe if you weren't on your tail," you offer, reaching toward her. You give the end of her tail a slight tug, freeing it from under her flank. "Whoa! Back off!" Lyra shouts, surprised and pushing you back to the corner of the couch. You look at her and notice a blush forming on her otherwise aquamarine face. She shies away, covering her reddened cheeks. "You made me lose my train of thought," she begins again, trying to cover from her blush. "Second of all, you're a guest at Casa de Lyra, and therefore you must obey my rules." "Casa de Lyra? Isn't this Bonbon's apartment?" you ask playfully. "Aw, shut up. She's just paying for it until I get another gig with the orchestra. Ever since Octavia sprained her hoof, we've been unable to land a show anywhere. And since I'm a pony, that's here, while Bonbon is here at work. I make the rules, and I say no TV until you've helped me clean this place up." The remote control vanishes with a small flash and reappears across the room on the table. You sigh melodramatically and slide off the couch into a pile on the floor. Lyra giggles and carefully climbs off the couch next to you, on all fours. You stare up at her, pouting, waiting for her to cave. It fails. "If you really don't want to help clean, you always move with somebody else," she says, walking towards the kitchen. "Yeah, well, maybe I should. At least they'll appreciate me," you cry out, maneuvering yourself to peek over the side of the couch. You watch Lyra magically lift a plate and rinse it under the sink. She snorts. "Yeah, well, with all that you do, how could they not?" The dish clings lightly against several others. She picks up another one and begins rinsing it. "Ooh, I just love your sarcasm. Easily the greatest thing about you." You stand up and stretch. Walking into the kitchen, you approach Lyra by the sink and pick up a lone sponge from the counter. With a quick grab, you pull the floating plate free from her telekinesis and begin scrubbing it clean. "Really?" she asked, grabbing the plate clean with her magical grasp and placing it in the drying rack. "I could have sworn it was my amazing flank." She cracks her tail at you, causing you to blush slightly and turn away. She notices you give She notices and gives you a smug smile in return. Wow, I keep stuttering. I've never stuttered in my life. You can't help but notice her bright golden eyes glancing at you softly. You feel your heart begin to race as your eyes trace over her slender body, stopping at the Lyra cutie mark, adoring her flank. She quickly swings her head to knock back her mane from her eyes. The fact that she's a pony no longer seems to bother you. After all, you've been living in Equestria for several months already. Lyra Heartstrings is your closest and seemingly only friend, and you spend the majority of your time with her. But she's still your friend, you tell yourself, trying to free your mind of Lyra's figure. Besides, she's with Bon Bon. She noticed the direction of your gaze and makes a noise, breaking the concentration. Enjoying the scenery? She asked, splashing some of the sink water at you. She watches as some of it lands on your precocious spot on your pants. Ho-ho! Right by your crotch. She tries to stifle a giggle, falling miserably. The water drips down your pant leg, only adding to the mock urine stain. That sight makes Lyra begin to laugh even harder. Oh, you think this is funny? You say, glancing back at the aquarium mare. You quickly splash water back at her in retaliation. She lets out a shriek in surprise as the water soaks her mane. Lyra raises her hoof in defense and screams for you to stop. Laughing maniacally, you continue to practically toss handfuls of water at the mare until the sink is nearly halfway empty. Had enough? You asked, a smug grin on your face. Lyra, you think this is funny? You say, glancing back at the aquamarine mare. You quickly splash water. Oh, I just read that. Oh, I'm sorry. Drink of water real quick. Had enough? You ask, a smug grin on your face. Lyra lowers her hooves and drops back onto all fours, her striking mane glistening in the sunlight that shines through a nearby window. You can't help but appreciate her body, seeing her pastel mane cascade down her neck and clinging to her frame. A feeling of desire begins to pass through you when suddenly you notice Lyra's eyes begin to water. Why do you have to take it so far? She asked feebly, tears flowing down her already soaked cheeks and onto the floor. You rush to her side, feeling terrible, but surprised nonetheless. You had never expected Lyra to respond so negatively to anything, especially something so minor. She recoils and pushes you back, turning away from you, sobbing lightly. You stand by her awkwardly, wanting to wrap your arms around her comfortingly, but not sure whether to actually do it. Lyra, You try to think of something to say, but you find your mind blank. I'm really sorry. You say this sincerely and close the gap between you and her. Slowly you inch your arms around the aquamarine mare. She doesn't even flinch. You take it as a sign to continue. I didn't mean to upset you. I promise. She turns her face to yours, revealing her tear-stained eyes. You hurriedly try to put up an uplifting smile, but instead wind up grinning foolishly. She giggles between her sobbing sighs. Sorry, I got tongue twisted for no reason. She giggles between her lightning sobs, a hiccup escaping her mouth. She laughs again and covers her mouth. You mean it? She asks, returning the hug and pulling her to you. My God. Wow. Like I said, it's a one-shot. Don't expect me to reread this or anything. Returning the hug and pulling you to her as closely as possible. You can feel how soft her coat is, a smile crossing your lips. I mean it. Good. You hear a small splash from behind you and attempt to turn around. Only to be shoved back by Lyra, who is now grinning mischievously. You see a large glass of full water floating before you, encased in her golden magical aura. No! You try to scramble to your feet, but fail to do so in time. Well, the glass is now upside down and empty, its contents on your pants and the stain reaching massive proportions. You sigh heavily and turn to Lyra, who is rolling on the floor, clutching her sides in laughter. You can't help but grin as you rise to your feet and leave the room. Later that evening, You find yourself tossing and turning in your bed, entirely unable to fall asleep. Each time you begin to drift off, images of Lyra swim across your mind. Your pulse begins to quicken, and your eyes shoot open yet again. You quickly judge by the lack of moonlight that the night is practically over. You haven't been... I hate that feeling. Where, like, you can't sleep and you look and you see the sun coming up. It's like, damn it, I haven't slept at all. Just like me! Like, what time is it? It's 1:28 a.m. Alright, back to the story. You quickly judge by the lack of moonlight that the night is practically over. You haven't been able to catch a single moment of rest without being awoken by Lyra's golden eyes, the ones that seem to stare directly through you. You grumble loudly and snatch a pillow out from under your head, throwing it to the floor in a rage. The image of Lyra sitting on the couch beside you comes flooding back, regardless of all attempts to keep it submerged in your subconscious. Finally giving up, you begin to fantasize about her soft mane brushing against your bare skin as you hold her in your arms. You feel her soul soar. You feel your soul soar. Try to say that 3 times fast. God, what is this? You think to yourself. Butterflies in your stomach. Am I falling for Lyra? The possibility seemed remote to you. You expect to be horrified at the thought, but instead you find yourself completely unsurprised. No, you say aloud, as if trying to still the incest stream of images and fantasies through your head. There's no way. She's my friend, and she's with Bonbon, for crying out loud. I mean, they've been living together for like 3 years. You sigh heavily and continue staring at the ceiling. Maybe you find yourself thinking, grasping at straws for a suitable excuse for your feelings, however febile. Maybe a smile suddenly plasters its way on your face as your eyes begin to close and accept sleep. Maybe it's just gas. You suddenly sit up and let out a deep belch that seems to echo throughout the quiet apartment. Ah, nasty! You can hear Lyra yell from her and Bonbon's room across the hall. You chuckle to yourself and lay back down, your eyes closing slowly. Yeah, it's definitely gas. End of chapter 1. Now, I gotta say, this I don't know. I don't know. I would kind of feel the same way if I lived in Equestria, like, not for a few months. If I lived there for like a year, I'm sure I would have intimate thoughts, but that's just me. So far, this is a pretty good story.